Welcome to the Oilfield Network News Safety Edition. Our goal for the news is to educate this edition specifically on safety in order to avoid or eliminate repeat incidents. Today we'll focus on site security. Keep in mind, everyone in our industry is involved in safety and security. If you're working offshore, driving a truck, or even driving a desk. On more than one occasion, I've been involved in security audits, like internal sting operations, sending phishing emails, or having people shoulder surf into a building. Most of you probably know phishing is trying to get an email user to click on a link that may attempt to get information or download malware. Shoulder surfing is walking behind someone into a locked facility and grabbing the door before the automatic lock latches, allowing entry without identification or access pass. If the person receiving the phishing email alerts IT security, or the person in front of the shoulder surfer asks to see the surfer's ID card or key access to the building or facility, the people being tested have acted properly and passed the test. If they do not and click on the link of the questionable email, they're flagged for IT security training. As for accessing the building by shoulder surfing, in one audit, a person shoulder surfed in without a pass and picked up as many laptops as possible from unlocked offices and carried them out of the building. You can imagine this got a lot of attention from all levels of management, and everyone attended an emergency safety meeting and conducted training that reviewed security rules and regulations. There's nothing like a personal story to drive a point home, so here's a couple of my own. During my tenure as a field engineer working offshore, I made a sales visit to a client with a sales engineer. Their office was in a multi-use building, and the sales engineer took me to a spot in the hallway and started a conversation. After a few minutes, the door opened and someone came out, headed for a restroom down the hall. The salesman waited a beat, then grabbed the closing door and waved his hand, gesturing me to come on inside. I asked if we had an appointment to visit the client, and he smiled and said no. I knew the manager we were going to visit, and we walked by his office. The salesman leaned back and said, "Hey, you're here. Do you have a minute?" Pointing at me, he said, "This is the engineer who was on your last job offshore." Happily, thanks to successful previous work, we were able to land another project. Also, fortunately, we were not arrested or stopped by a properly trained employee. On the other side of the law, I was working as a vendor putting together safety programs that trained global organizations on issues just like this one. I had an entry badge and noticed someone came in behind me, grabbed the door, shoulder surfing into the lobby. I stopped and asked if he would mind going out and scanning his badge to open the door. He acted insulted and informed me he was scheduled to meet a vice president in the building and would not go back, and kept walking. I took a few quick steps, caught up with him, and said I'd walk him to the VP's office. He got a little more aggravated and kept walking. When we arrived at the office, the vice president wasn't there, so we waited together until he arrived. My new friend complained about the mandatory escort, and I explained what had happened at the entry. The VP smiled, shook my hand, and said thank you, and I went about my business. Bottom line, it doesn't matter who it is or their position in the organization or who they're going to visit. If there are security rules and procedures in place, they must be followed. Everyone should understand if you see something or someone that tries to get around security, call your location safety or security person. If you don't have that number in your phone, that's a problem. Fix it today. If you're in charge of security, ask the question about having the security's number. If the person you ask is not on speed dial with your number, that's a problem. There are also many other easily disseminated learning from incidents examples to avoid similar problems. Now, this safety edition was written last week after an industry executive told me about an incident involving a drone flying over a facility. Over the weekend, you probably heard there was an incident involving unauthorized entry in Washington, D.C. Thanks to well-planned levels of security, this did not turn into a catastrophic event. It may be unlikely an incident like this one in Washington, D.C. would happen at your workplace. That said, if an unexpected event or something as mundane as shoulder surfing is observed, everyone should have a person or group to call to report the incident. I've personally seen failures in audit testing security. Please pass this news story on to people in your organization to be sure everyone in all of your facilities has a plan and these incidents are not repeated in an actual event instead of a safety audit. As always, keep innovating, keep networking, stay safe and secure, and continue to look for ways to help others in our oil and gas industry.